All right, let's go ahead and get started. Donna's pretty good at catching up, so we'll get going. Pull up my agenda here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and call the City of Desert Hot Springs Public Safety Commission meeting for January 13th, 2022 to order at this time. Gerald, is it you or Karmazai who's going to be doing the roll call or the votes and stuff tonight?
It'll be me.
Okay, so can we go ahead and get a roll call vote, please? Or a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Eastman?
Here.
Commissioner Lozano? Commissioner Muse?
Here.
Vice Chair Mitchell?
Here.
And Chairman Meyer.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, good deal. All right, let's go and do the Pledge of Allegiance. And Brian, will you lead us in the pledge tonight?
All right. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag
flag
of the United States of America
and
to the republic
for which it stands,
and one nation under God, indivisible,
with
liberty
and
justice
justice
for all.
for all. All right, we got through that. So simple, but it makes it so hard. Okay, next on the agenda is a selection of a chair and vice chair. And you know what? Is this something we need to do now, Gerald, or can we wait a few more minutes and see if we get Commissioner Lozano on here?
Yes, we can wait a few minutes.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and bump that down, and let's go ahead and do the approval of the agenda, unless someone has an objection. No objections? Okay. So let's go ahead and do the approval of the agenda.
I'll approve the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Eastman, second by Commissioner Muse. Can we get a vote, Gerald, please?
Commissioner Eastman?
Yes.
Commissioner Muse?
Yep.
Vice Chair Mitchell?
Yes.
Chairman Meyer.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. And let's go ahead and do the minutes at this time. So if you could review your minutes real fast and make sure we're good there. Okay. So if there's no problems with the minutes, we need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll approve. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the last meeting.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the minute. I'm trying to work two computers here. I'm lucky if I can work one. This is the minutes from our meeting on December 9th. So we have a motion to approve from Lee. Do we have a second from somebody? Brian?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Muse. So please vote.
Commissioner Eastman?
Aye.
Commissioner Muse?
Aye.
Vice Chair Mitchell?
Yes.
Chairman Meyer.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. All right. Any public comments, Gerald?
No, we do not.
We do not. Okay. So we're going to skip through that. Let me ask the other commissioners, for this selection for chair and vice chair, do you want to start handling items and see if Donna makes it in and then handle that, or do you want to do that right now?
I'd wait for Donna.
I'm good with waiting.
I'm okay with waiting.
Okay. Lee, any input?
I'll go with the majority. Want to wait a few minutes? That's fine too.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll bump that down until Donna joins us. Hopefully she gets with us because I'd really like to have her input on that. And so let's see if we can hold off on that since she has her say there. And let's go ahead and move the new business item number 2, the fire department presentation and update, please. So we're looking forward to this one.
Okay, give me a second while I share my screen, please. Can everybody see my screen?
I can see it.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to present to you, commissioners, is the kind of the recommended plan of action from the fire department and staff perspective. So we kind of called this a roadmap, where we are now and where we need to go in the future. Okay, so as we talked last time we talked about this subject, the city council has committed to improving public safety by improving infrastructure and increasing staffing. On January 1st, the city and the fire department changed the staffing model at Fire Station 37, and this included two fire captains, this included adding two fire captains, two fire apparatus engineers, and one firefighter, two paramedic. And some of the staff that was already working at 37 were relocated to other work locations. So we removed a fire apparatus engineer, paramedic, and two firefighter twos. And so that was a fiscal year 2021-22 approved in the city's adopted budget for 21 through 23. The next step in the plan for the fire department is to we recommend adding 3 firefighter, 2 paramedic positions in fiscal year 22-23. This plan is also already approved in the 21 through 23 budget. So kind of the idea for this is that this is a tiered approach to adding a medic squad at Fire Station 37. And primarily the reason for this is because there's not enough room currently at Fire Station 37 to add the staffing component of the medic squad. We don't have enough space in bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen, so forth. So kind of our thoughts while the tenant improvements are being developed and planned and getting ready to happen at the fire station, our thought was that those improvements probably would be happening kind of in the 22-23 fiscal year. And so that's when we wanted to start taking action to add positions. So these paramedic positions, firefighter 2 paramedics positions, would go right onto the fire engine while we're making accommodations and getting the medic squad built and so forth.
Hello, does anyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
Donna.
here. Okay, I'm here.
Hey,
Glad
Donna,
you made it.
just to get you caught up, we started without you, and we're getting the fire department update report now. And when we conclude with the new business tonight, then we're going to select a new chair, do the chair and vice chair selection. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Can
Sorry,
you see
Chief.
me?
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay. Is there a reason why I can't be seen and I can't see you? Or I could see Mike. Sorry, Mike.
You're probably only seeing one or a few people because Chief Everland's sharing his screen, and that's going to push a lot of people off. So,
Oh, okay.
but hang in there.
I will.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Chief, for the interruption. Go ahead.
Well, that's okay. So in fiscal year 23-24, our recommended actions from staff recommending adding the medic squad at Fire Station 37. The medic squad will be staffed daily with a fire apparatus engineer and a firefighter 2 paramedic. Staff recommends to make this happen, adding 3 fire apparatus engineers. The additional firefighter 2 paramedics added in fiscal year 22-23 will be moved from Engine 37 to the medic squad. The medic squad would provide significant improvements in response times, better coverage for simultaneous calls for service, and relief to Engine 37, which is the busiest fire engine in the Riverside County Fire Department.
Wow. That always
And-
amazes me.
Yes, ma'am. So this is, you've probably seen this chart before, but this is a chart showing incidents in 2020 and inside the city. And the red dots are the responses that Engine 37 was able to handle. And then the blue dots are responses that are not Engine 37 coming from some other location. So it's a pretty significant call amount, and it continues to increase.
Sure does.
Okay, so on to fiscal year 24-25. Staff recommends adding 1 quint to be housed at the new fire station 98. The medic squad would be down-staffed at that point, and the staffing that was staffing the medic squad would move to be part of the new quint staffing. So staff would recommend adding 3 fire captains and 3 firefighter 2 paramedics to staff the quint. And then, of course, the engineer staffing that was already on the medic squad would just move over. So you already have part of the staffing component completed.
That's on Long Canyon?
I'm sorry?
Is that on Long Canyon?
That is the site that is on, and forgive me, I don't remember the cross streets.
No, you're right, Donna. That's that station is located at the where Hacienda transitions into Long Canyon.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's it. You're right.
Thank you.
So in addition, what we're looking to do is to make all of these things happen as fast as we possibly can. That would be the fire department's recommendation. So staff recommends adding a medic squad 37 as soon as possible. The National Fire Protection Association recommends response times be 4 minutes or less 90% of the time. In 2020, the response times for Desert Hot Springs was 5 minutes or less 68% of the time. So we already have a clear need to proceed on that now, and staff would recommend the purchase of a new medic squad as soon as possible. The current production time for those squads is around 400 days currently.
Wow.
Okay, so looking at the department after this, period between now and 2025, what does the fire department for Desert Hot Springs look like at that point? So the City of Desert Hot Springs Fire Department would provide fire protection from 3 fire stations that house 2 fire engines that are staffed with 1 fire captain, 1 fire apparatus engineer, and 1 firefighter, 2 paramedic, and then a new quint staffed with 1 fire captain, 1 fire apparatus engineer, and 2 firefighter, 2 paramedics daily, but we would have to add a 3 firefighter, 2 paramedics to cover the both ends of the work week. So that would be a total workforce of 7. And then a total daily workforce of 7, and then a total workforce of 21 fire safety employees and 1 fire safety specialist in the office of the fire marshal. And that concludes my report. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Anyone got questions for the fire chief?
Not at this point, I don't. I'm happy about the quint.
Well, naturally, I have a couple of questions. I'm
Okay.
sure that was anticipated.
Naturally.
Sure, naturally. So as we're currently structured, we increased the staffing at Station 37. So if Engine 37 responds to a call and shows up on a call, what's the number of personnel that's assigned to that apparatus?
Currently, right now, it's 3.
There are 3 firefighters assigned to that apparatus, 1 captain, 1 engineer, and 1 paramedic, correct?
One firefighter, 2, and 1 of those positions needs to be a paramedic. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So, and we're talking about it. The squad is supposed to be coming sometime in fiscal 23-24. And are you on the same fiscal calendar as the City of Desert Hot Springs? We moved from the July 1st, June 30th fiscal year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're looking at fiscal 2024, July 1st, 2023, which is about 2.5 years out, or maybe 1.5 years. We just came into a new year. Is it customary for the Quints to be staffed with 4 or 5 personnel?
4.
4?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. And you have your apparatus procurement people, the people that research spec out the rigs, take a look at which manufacturer you're going to enter into a contract with. And do they go out and analyze the local jurisdiction's fire problem to see which type of apparatus would be the best fit for that area?
So the way it works is it's kind of a multi-pronged approach. So with the size and complexity of Riverside County and the different operational areas, generally speaking, what we do is we try to find on the operational side. So from myself and the battalion chiefs will work with a group of folks that are local and try to figure out, what equipment best would suit the needs of the city or our partner, and then bring that forward to city staff and commissions like yourself, and try to, as a team, come up with the best results that we can. And so in discussions with, obviously prior to my arrival, the discussions had already transpired with city staff in regards to, what's the next best fit for the city. And at that time it was deemed that a Quint would sufficiently fix a lot of the problems that we have in the city.
Okay. And when you talk about adding a medic squad, we took a look at Commissioner Lozano and I. We went out to your station 35, and we were introduced to a piece of apparatus that actually had a pump attached. And it did a little pump and roll, maybe I forget, maybe a 100-gallon tank or something of that nature. When we talk about putting a squad in service, are we looking specifically at a squad without a pump, or are we looking at one with a jockey pump as we saw at Station 35?
So, both of those options are currently available. What we call the vehicle that has the skid mount pump in it is called a medic patrol. And the problem is that the medic patrols don't really meet the intent of what we want a fire pump to be able to do. It's not able to accomplish everything that we want it to be accomplished for if we're going to go into a fire environment. So it is something that we have in our arsenal, and the reason why it's at Fire Station 35 as an additional piece of equipment is to be able to make access out into some of the four-wheel drive required sandy areas to get some of these remote vegetation fires. But we traditionally don't really want to use them in the urban environment that we're looking at for the city of Desert Hot Springs, if that makes sense.
Well, I can see your point. Yes. It provides you a little bit of versatility if you had, I don't know, if somebody chucks a cigarette in the median type thing, maybe if you had an overheated car fire, something like that, definitely wouldn't take the place of a triple combination pump or anything of that nature. So it was a suggestion to, get the most bang for your buck in the interim period between, while 98's being constructed and the apparatus is being staffed and located there. And just for, I guess the last thing is, it looks like we're proceeding with a Quint at 98. And was that the decision that the brass at Riverside Fire came up with?
No, I believe that was the discussions between the city manager at that time and Division Chief Fish at the time, alongside with the battalion chiefs that were assigned in Battalion 10 at that time.
Okay. Well, for now, that concludes my questioning. I'm sure I'll think of something as the meeting goes on. But thank you for your patience and the information you provided. It was very comprehensive. Well done. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Lee, do you have something?
Yeah, I just want to get ready to find out exactly when you recommended to have a medical squad. I mean, what's the date? What was that time date to have that squad that you recommended? I mean,
I'm sorry, sir. I must have missed part of your question. Did you say?
Well, and all the minutiae that you were giving out, I kind of, you talked about a medical squad. You talked about 22, 23, or 20. When are you talking about having a medical squad operating?
Well, so in talking with city staff, obviously we would want to put a medic squad into service as quickly as possible. However, we just can't logistically support it right now with the size of the fire station. It doesn't have enough room for additional firefighters.
So you don't have, I'm sorry, I haven't interrupted you, but you don't have an idea even what time frame we're talking about.
Well, I think that in the presentation, we said that this was going to probably happen in fiscal year 23-24.
Right.
But there could possibly be a scenario where those tenant improvements to Fire Station 37 happen sooner than later, and then maybe we can move up the timetable. But as it stands right now, I don't feel comfortable with trying to do something that's not obtainable. So I think that what we're recommending is a safe bet. And then if things happen on a faster timeline and Fire Station 37 gets remodeled and can handle having additional staff sign there, then maybe we could move up the timetable and get the medic squad in service on a much quicker basis.
Well, I know it's a recommendation, and I appreciate your explanation.
Yes, sir.
Donna, did you come up with anything?
No, actually, the Quint has a medical person on there, correct? And it has the water and the hose and everything, or no?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Yeah, okay. So, and that's coming when?
Fiscal year 24-25 is the current plan.
Wow. I hope I'm here. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I got a couple things. So one thing, Chief, is that basically you've met with city staff and this plan is approved. They've approved the cost. They're comfortable with the cost, and this is what they've agreed to move forward with. Correct?
So for the changes that we've already made, and for next fiscal year adding the additional firefighter onto the engine, those things have already been approved by the city council. Okay. So this presentation that I've given to you, I will be giving to the city council at the next meeting, and then we will receive further direction, I'm sure. But as it was described to me, they wanted you to hear it first and then move forward from there.
Yeah, because I mean, I think you've already gotten some questions from some of the commissioners that I got a feeling you're going to hear from city councils, and of course I'm going to add a couple more. So right now, looking at the plan, the two biggest things holding us back: we don't have space for personnel at Station 37, and we have to wait 400 days for a medic squad to be built.
So that's where we're at currently for wait times. However, in the event that we, get on the docket to get a medic squad approved for purchase, and we go out to bid and we award a contract and we get something in production, there's opportunities for us to be able to use some of the additional equipment in the county to put a rig into service sooner than later, if we so choose.
And that was the exact answer I was looking for, Chief, because I was going to ask you, is there a way that we can find a unit that maybe one of the cities is upgrading, another contract city's upgrading, they're not going to need this unit once they're upgraded, one comes in, and we can I mean, remember the goal here is to serve the people, right? So the sooner I can get we can get the medic squad in here, even if it's just a temporary one, you know, that I think is a question city council would be asked is can we find another piece of equipment somewhere to use temporarily? I know in the sheriff's department we did it all the time. You know, yeah, you know, we need a vehicle for something, you know, and we'd actually go pull them out of our boneyard if we had to and get them back up to snuff. Lee, did you want to add something real quick?
Yes, Chief, out at
Yes, sir.
Station 36, there's a unit sits out there for quite a few years. I don't know, I've been there for a while. But what do they use that for? Anything?
What are we talking about, sir? There's a medic patrol there. There's a medic squad there.
Well, there's one. Well, this is a year or so ago. There was a squad. There was a red squad there, and I thought that'd be a good one to use, maybe for a medic squad, at least to start. But I don't know if it's the same one or not.
You know, once we get to once we decide that we're going to move forward with this and it's approved and we have it funded, and like I said, we will there should be an issue being able to get a piece of equipment. I don't know if it would be, you know, the current medic squad 36. I don't know what age that is. If we're going to put something into service, we want it to be serviceable and operate, you know, at a high level as expected.
Well, it was a good looking squad. That I know what it is. I don't know what it's used for, but at least
sir.
look into it. I know
Yes,
it's
sir.
going to take a while. It's good presentation, by the way. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
So that's a great question, Lee, because like right there, you just identified that we do have a possible piece of equipment. It just needs a little bit of love probably. And it would just be there to fill in temporarily. It's not being used currently, correct?
Exactly.
So it does get used when some of the fire engines go down mechanical or whatever. We'll move equipment over onto that squad or that medic patrol and use it until we can get an engine fixed or a reserve engine into the station.
Okay, so
like I said, there may be, you know, there's probably in our fleet, there's probably right now an additional, you know, 10 reserves in the system, I think, somewhere around there. So we should be able to find something pretty easily, I would think. But
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
So
So what's
why not?
others, I'm sorry.
Yeah, why not? I think that'd be a great idea. I mean,
yeah, that's what I was going to say, Brian. Is Chief, when you go before council, it'd be really helpful if you had a specific plan saying, look, we can if we want to go ahead like as quickly as possible, because obviously you got to find bodies too. We can find a piece of equipment that meet the temporary needs, and I think that would be a question City Council is going to ask. The other question, obviously we don't have space at 37, but could we temporarily put people at 36? Would there be enough space there for the crew and the unit until we can get 37 up and prepared for that increased manpower?
I believe there is space there. I would have to do a little bit of studying on that. I'm not sure how much that would benefit us in the call volume stuff. I have to take a good look at that. I don't want to answer to that right now. I'd have to study that. So let me study that, and I can get back to you.
Yeah, because City Council, I'm sure, is going to ask. 36 is already our primary secondary response unit. I mean, it's 3 miles outside the city. So, you know, for a lot of stuff on the west end of the city, that would cut down that 5-6 minute time, you know, and so I think that would be something that City Council is probably going to be wondering about. You know, why can't we put bodies in a unit at 36 until 37's up and ready if we can get the bodies and if we can get the unit? So,
Okay.
You know, I mean, even if it saves one person who's in, like, you know, cardiac arrest or something like that, I mean, it's paid for itself and it's paid for all the hassle and everything. So I think those are two big questions. And as long as city staff is comfortable with the cost and everything, and they've already put it in the budget, then I think we're pretty good. I don't know. What do you guys think? You want to run a motion and a recommendation and recommend the plan. The roadmap is presented with the caveats that if we can find an apparatus and bodies in space earlier, that the fire department could move forward and maybe and get that implemented as quickly as possible using those things if they can meet them. What do you guys think?
Well, I had one more question for the chief.
I'm sorry, Ken.
As we're in discussion, it would appear as we're talking about this that the only impediment to actually getting the squad in service, since we can secure a reserve apparatus and if there's funding available for the personnel, would be the housing at Station 37. And I understand that as construction is beginning on other projects within the city, notably the police department's expansion and other things, that there are some mobile structures that are parked adjacent to the current police station. And when I actually experienced going through the reconstruction of the station where we used a mobile trailer as the actual sleeping quarters and living quarters while the station was being built. And this was a complete tear down and rebuild of the station. It wasn't an upgrade. So I don't know if you were aware or were thinking about approaching the city council about perhaps using one or more of those mobile structures as a temporary housing while 37 is being modified. And they may be large enough as the mobile structure we used during the construction of our station. We had a 3-person engine company in one structure that's about the same size as the mobile, the trailers that are out there next to the police station. And they can handle a 3-person crew. So if you got 2 of them, you could easily handle this 5-person staffing, even while 37 is being modified. I don't know if you had thought about that or if the city council has recommended that to you.
The city council definitely hasn't recommended that, but I know that the contractor that the city is dealing with for these city facility upgrades and buildings, it has those things in mind, and it's just a matter of getting the plan all together.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great idea, Kenneth.
Well, I have my moments. So.
At least you have moments. I have a moment. So, okay. So what do you guys think? You guys you guys comfortable with sending a recommendation up to council? So when the chief goes up there, they know that we've kind of looked at this, we've asked some questions, and we're comfortable. I personally am not totally comfortable with 400 days. I'm not, this.
Actually, I was going to say that as well.
Yeah, but Brian, do you want to add?
Yeah, 400 days seems like, that is quite a bit, especially how busy, everybody is.
It's greater than a year. So if we could secure that a reserve apparatus and the space for the staffing at Station 37 during its upgrade and remodel, and perhaps shrink that 400 days down by a significant amount, the more significant the better. Then I think we'd all, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, I think we'd all be a little bit more comfortable with supporting the plan as written down.
Lee?
Yeah, I believe that apparatus should be looked into because it's pretty good shape. Because I really went over it. It's not a thing wrong with it. It could really be used for something, I'm sure.
Yeah, the one thing we always have to remember is any piece of emergency equipment, whether it's a fire unit, an ambulance unit, or a police car, there's certain standards, and the vehicle code has those requirements, and we all have to follow them. So I don't want to hamper the chief and say he's got to use the one at 36. I would leave that to his expertise to see if he
You're
can
absolutely
find it.
right. I didn't mean that. I just
okay.
It needs to be looked at.
And just in case someone was listening and didn't understand what we were talking about. But I don't want to hamper the chief in his search to find whatever the best.
Yeah, I think that's probably out of all of the issues that we're dealing with, I think that's the easiest one to overcome. I think making sure that we secure the funding. I don't want to speak for the city staff or for the city council, but I don't know where they are in terms of of being able to get that done at what time frame. So I think those are the things that they're going to be discussing when I present this to them, and I will look into the questions that were asked from the commission today and try to have good answers for them when I go to them at the next meeting.
All right,
It's up to the city council, that's for sure. That's what.
yeah.
I agree to your motion.
Okay, so let's, can we get someone to throw a motion out there to follow the fire department's city staff roadmap with emphasis on speeding up the timeline for implementation. I'm not sure what wording I'm looking for there, but I'm sure one of us will come up with it.
Well, I think that was pretty good. I was going to make a motion that probably uses almost that exact same verbiage, that I would recommend that we make a motion to approve the roadmap as presented by Chief Beverly tonight, with the caveat that the 400-day lag time for the implementation of the medic squad or patrol, as the case may be expedited and as quickly as possible.
I love the verbiage, expedited. Any,
I'll second that.
I second. Okay, good. Lee.
damn, Ken, another one of those moments, right?
Oh yeah, few and far between, but they're there.
Okay, very well done. All right, Gerald, can we get a vote on that, please?
Commissioner Eastman?
Pardon me?
Commissioner Eastman?
We're voting
Yes.
on the motion, Lee.
I second that motion.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, we're good. We're Gerald's doing a roll call vote to see if we approve it.
Commissioner Lozano?
Yes.
Commissioner Muse?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mitchell?
Yes.
And Chairman Meyer?
Yes.
Motion
And did you
passes.
get Lee's vote also?
Yes,
Yes.
I did.
Okay, perfect. All right, good deal. Thank you. I think we made a big step there. This is something we've been trying to get going. Chief Beverlin, thank you so much. I appreciate all the work you put into that and getting that going and answering those questions. And we wish you the best of luck with City Council. It's not hyperbole to say this is a matter of life or death. And not only that, but Station 37 desperately needs support, and we definitely need to provide that support for the crew and the team there, so they do a great job, but I think they could do an even better job with that support. So thank you for your work on that, and thank you for getting it to us. And
Yes, sir.
we
Thank
wish you the best of luck at council. So
Thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
you have it. Thank you. All right.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and I'm sure this is goodbye. We'll be seeing each other again soon.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the chief here in a few minutes too, so he's going to get the report. Let's do this significant incident notification, item number 3 under new business. We'll do that, and then we'll do the chair and vice chair discussion and voting. Does that sound all right to everybody?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so which commissioner brought this up? I cannot remember. Whose idea was this?
Probably not me.
I'm going to have one of those moments again.
Okay, so
I know.
so Ken, since this was your idea and it went on the agenda at your request, do you want to go through what it is you're looking at and start the discussion that way, please?
Well, what I'm looking at is there are other cities throughout the United States. New York City is, of course, the one city that comes to mind, and there's many cities in California as well. When there is a significant incident regarding public safety within the jurisdiction that we're talking about, the city of Desert Hot Springs, in those other jurisdictions I mentioned, the commissioners are notified. And of course, there's an option for the commissioners to respond to the scene, but they have to adhere to a strict protocol. If they were to respond to a scene, they go directly to the incident commander. They are strictly there as observation. They don't override any of the orders that are given by the senior officer on the scene, and they're pretty much, the commissioner provides a public presence. We represent the public at the scene of the emergency to make sure that the public is receiving the services as what they expect. The notification can be anything, and some departments have used pagers. Now that we have cell phones, I think there's a technology known as Nixle. I know the city of Hayward uses that technology to inform its citizens of significant incidents, or it's similar in design to the emergency alerts that come over your television set when we're about to have a flash flood warning, or if we're about to have high winds or anything like that. It provides for a mechanism for the commissioners to observe our public safety professionals in action. And if we were to see things where, if the professionals were to come and ask for more resources or ask that procedures be changed to make their performance at the scene more efficient, then we can actually visualize what they're talking about. Sometimes it's difficult to understand when a police officer says, the difficulties he or she has in responding to a specific call, or a firefighter in the same circumstance as the case may be. It's difficult oftentimes to understand them anecdotally, but if you can see it happen in front of you, you get a better perspective. Now, with having said that, I've responded to emergencies where there have been officials on the scene, and sometimes it's looked forward to and other times it's not. So that's why the strict protocol would be in place to make sure that there were not any, there's no interference. You're just there as an observer, and you're just there as a public official overseeing the performance of the public safety agencies within the jurisdiction. And that was the general idea of putting something like that together. Now, of course, you would have to be a meeting of the minds between law enforcement, between fire, between EMS, to see if that would be something that they would agree with, or even support it conceptually. But that's in a nutshell what I was talking about when I asked to have that agendized.
Okay. Before we turn it over to the commissioners, I was wondering if either Chief Shaw or Chief Beverland wanted to have some say or input or anything on that. Chief Shaw, go ahead, please.
Hi, thank you, and good evening, everybody. And I'm going to take probably not a real popular opinion of this, and so no disrespect to the commissioner or anything, but I want to give you my take on it, and my take is from obviously 33 years of doing this job and being in this business. And I look at two different things. So there's two different questions here that's being asked of us, and one is the notification, and then one is having folks come on scene either to a critical incident, a law enforcement incident, or some sort of critical incident involving some sort of natural disaster, fire, or something like that. So in terms of notifications, for the police department, we do have a notification procedure that starts with the first supervisor on scene and works its way up to the chain of command to us. And then from outside of the police department, that notification goes to the city, and it goes to the deputy city manager or the assistant city manager, and in some cases the city manager, depending on who's available. But beyond that, further notification from us, from the police department, beyond that one notification to the city, it becomes a hazard and a problem for the officers on scene and for the folks working that incident. And my experience, I lived through several years of where the demand was for notifications to a wide range of people. And what that ends up causing is the officers on scene not to focus on the job they need to be doing on scene, but to be worried about making notifications and not paying attention to the work that they need to be making. I certainly do not have a problem with this commission being notified of critical incidents, but I think that should be a conversation that you have with city management, with the city manager, with the deputy city manager, and that's where it should come from. I'm not comfortable with having a supervisor, whether it be a sergeant or watch commander that's on scene, having to make that notification. Or again, if I'm at a scene or the chief is at a scene, our job is we're trying to help them with the scene and coordinate that thing. The size of our department doesn't allow us just to stand by and watch what's going on. We're actually hands-on trying to do the work. We do make notifications. We do use social media. Obviously, on the PD side, our biggest platform is Facebook, and we do both on the PD Facebook and on the city side of it. When we do have a critical incident or road closure or something like that, we do get that information put out on Facebook for the public. So that is out there. and we do utilize that. I know some of those other platforms that Commissioner Mitchell was talking about, but right now Facebook is our biggest social media platform. That's in terms of the notification. In terms of coming to a scene, it's really along the same lines, and in two different types of scenes. Is one, we have a crime scene, and then another is going to be a natural disaster scene. Usually on that scene, fire, weather related, something like that. Obviously, fire is going to be the scene commanders on that, and they control those things. But speaking from the law enforcement part in a crime scene, we don't want anybody in our crime scene. As a private person, you are welcome, like anybody else, to come and look and watch. But we maintain a perimeter around that. We maintain those boundaries around where folks can enter, where even media can enter. As private persons, you can come there, you can watch, you can videotape, you can do everything like that. I will tell you from a law enforcement perspective, when a public official comes to a crime scene, it's a distraction. Officers are on scene, whether it's an active crime scene, something where maybe we have a barricaded suspect or something like that, we have a SWAT incident going on, or we're investigating a homicide or something like that. The officers and the investigators that are there, they're focused on working that crime scene. And I don't want them worried about who's coming to the crime scene and who's trying to get into the crime scene. So as a public official, we don't want other folks inside that crime scene. It contaminates the crime scene. Once someone crosses that barrier where we set those perimeters, and you've seen that police tape, once somebody crosses that barrier, their name goes on a log to say that they entered that crime scene. And now that person's going to be called to court when this ends up in court, and they're going to be grilled as far as what they did inside the crime scene, what was their purpose for being inside the crime scene, and how did they contaminate that crime scene? Did they take proper procedures not to contaminate it? So that causes lots of problems on the law enforcement part, especially when it comes to court and showing the preservation of that crime scene. When we're saying that we allowed somebody in there, and again, no disrespect, but basically just to look and watch us, that's going to be turned around when we end up going to court by the defense attorney of us being lax with our crime scene and allowing contamination into our crime scene. So those are the things that we're trying to avoid. So, like I said,
agree.
Certainly it's as public officials, you have a right to the information. I think that information is better coming to you from somebody at City Hall, rather than someone on the scene that's actively working an incident. And I need those folks focused on working that incident and paying attention to that. So I don't want to deny you that information, and I'm not, but I think it's better that it comes up from the City Hall side and something that's worked out on that end, as opposed to the police department setting up some sort of protocol for notification to the commission.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Chief Everland, did you have anything you wanted to add to what Chief Shaw said? Or from get the fire side of it?
Yeah, so, basically same sentiments. I don't think any of our folks would have an issue with having commissioners come out to the scene. However, I know my folks, and I know that they will want to do everything in their power to make sure that you're taken care of as a commissioner on scene. And what that lends itself to is taking their eye off of the ball, and that's when a lot of things happen on the bad side of things. And whether that be, missing a building collapse, or not accounting for a firefighter who's missing, any of those things. And then you throw in the summertime heat into the mix of any of these incidents, and we got people dropping like flies. So what I will say is that the fire department does push out a significant incident report form. You commissioners, as part of the monthly and quarterly reports, see all of those significant incidents. I believe that there's a way that we could add you to the automated notification list if you talk to the city staff and they agree. I'm sure that we could add you on to that list, and then as soon as it's pushed out by the battalion chief or the incident commander on scene, you'll automatically get an email hit with that information. But as far as coming out to the scenes, I think it's a risky proposition. Just knowing my folks and how they would want to take real good care of you and just, I think that just takes a little bit of the focus off of what we want them to be doing.
So let's go and open it up to the commissioners. Anyone want to go first?
I will.
Okay, go ahead, Donna. Thank you.
I agree with both of them. I think that I don't want to see a crime scene and I don't want to see a fire. I've seen enough in my lifetime. And I just think that being notified is important to us, though, because I have residents calling me, not a lot, but what happened the other night, and I have no idea what happened the other night. Why was it barricaded somewhere? I don't know. I think it is important for us to know what is happening when it is happening. But yes, I agree. I don't need to be there. That's it. Can you
Okay.
see me?
We still can't see you, Donna, but we can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Brian?
I agree with both chiefs as well. And being a volunteer for the Desert Hot Springs Police Department, I and some Lee and yourself, Walt, you guys already know. I mean, I'm there to keep people, whether it's a commissioner or whatever, safe as well. Whether they call me out for a traffic accident, a crime scene, and I know all about the caution tape. And I mean, the chief hit it right on. I mean, obviously, being a commissioner, it's like, well, hey, I want to see what's going on. And then you do have a lot of bystanders come up, what's going on? That's where I have to plead the fifth. And I mean, I would hate for a commissioner to say, oh, this is what's going on, what he's heard, even though he hasn't talked to who's ever in charge of that scene. And then it gets out, say, well, the PD did this or the fire department did that. And I mean, as a citizens on patrol for Desert Hot Springs, personally, I've been there 12 years. I've been to a lot of different scenes, and it's best to, if somebody really wants. I mean, I think we could be notified, which is fine, but there's got to be a sequence. I mean, there's just things that need to come right from the police department, and they do have their spokespeople, like deputy chief and a higher city official. Even as a commissioner, as the public, I don't feel obligated. If I am, as a commissioner, at a crime scene and it's a homicide, it's plead the fifth. I don't know why I'm here. They just asked me to come here, and that's basically the way a lot of our citizens on patrol are. So, I mean, it just needs to come from the right source. I don't think a public commissioner myself, I don't feel the entitlement to say this is what happened, because that's you don't have all the pieces. So,
Okay. Lee, did you want to add anything to the discussion?
Yeah, I kind of agree with the chiefs in a way. I think it's important that we're notified of significant incidents. We get some kind of a report. It doesn't have to be anything that we don't need to know. Of course, it's just pertinent to the scene and what happened and how it was resolved. That's nothing wrong with that. But I think showing up at a crime scene, especially a police crime scene that I can relate to, they're pretty well sealed off. And just somebody being there, if you're just there as an observer, that's one thing, but you have to be a long way from it. You shouldn't be inside the scene. As a commissioner, I'm not sure why we should be there or who we should talk to. I mean, they're very busy. It's a very busy thing going down. And we might be able to observe, yes, I can see that, but I wouldn't want to interfere with any of the officers or anything like that. So I think if we got a report on a significant scene, a crime scene, and got a report at home, and then we could look at it, and if we have something to question on it, that's fine. But as far as showing up at the scene, I'm not so sure how we'd have to sit down and discuss that. How do we do that? What our protocols would be, and how we would identify ourselves at the scene, and so on. So I don't know. There's more to it than just talking about it tonight. We should delve into this a little further. That's all I can say.
Okay, I'll throw my comments in, and then Ken will give you the last shot at it. Okay, since you brought it up, as a former chief of police, I can tell you that I agree with the other two chiefs. Less is better. I mean, not only are they very busy handling their crime scene, but the minute other people start showing up, they have to provide support for them: water, bathrooms, logistical stuff. I've seen crime scenes where like 100 bosses show up, and you're like, why are they all here? You know, now we got to feed them, we got to get them into the bathrooms, we got as the two chiefs mentioned, it does detract. I literally would show up at crime scenes as the chief of police, and my first question is what do I need to know? The second question is, what do you need to get the job done? The third question is what do I need to see or be aware of? You know, and if there wasn't anything like a OSHA issue or something like that I needed to be aware of as the boss, I usually dropped a whole bunch of cash on them so they could buy all the water and stuff they needed, and then I got the hell out of there, right? So I personally am not real big on dragging more people in. The other thing you have to think about is how many of you are willing to get calls in the middle of the night?
True.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
I'm with Ken. I did 30 plus years of getting calls in the middle of the night. I don't
plead
want
the fifth
calls
on that.
Yeah, well, Brian, you volunteered, but
I'm up all night, so.
yeah, I personally am not into going back to getting calls in the middle of the night. We have great people handling our emergency services. I think it's best to leave it there. If you want to go to crime scenes, I think the best thing any of us could do is join COP. You know, I know that organization always needs people.
We do need people.
You won't see
We do
me
need
joining because getting anywhere close to police stuff is like heroin for me, and I've vowed to stay off of that. So,
Oh no, we need you. We need you.
no, I will not be there, Brian. I swear.
uh,
So I have enough issues trying to stay out of police business, and
See-
handling recruits and academy stuff is just enough. It's just enough.
I tried, Deputy Chief. I tried.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
You're the guy, Walt.
yeah, if we want to do a notification thing or maybe like a next day notification, I don't know if that's something that's already in the system, and you know if the chiefs feel comfortable with us being on the next day notification. But I think Brian brings up a great point. You know, sometimes in those notifications there's confidential information that's only supposed to be within the city, and that's something I would hate to see any of that information get leaked by one of us.
Right.
You know, and we really don't have. Yeah, we don't have any authority to tell any of our emergency services people what to do. We have zero authority for that. So, you know, but Ken brings up a great point. We are there to be a voice and a liaison. That's specifically written in our mission. And, you know, I think we'd probably be better served to continue to do that through the public forum of the meeting. You know, and like that. So that's just my personal thoughts on it. Lee, did you want to say something before I turn it over to Ken?
Yeah, just one thing. I just want to say that I have perfect confidence in our chiefs and our sergeants and our other officers that can do the job. And we're looking at something here that I don't know what we're talking about, to be honest with you. If there's been complaints or something's going on out there that the commissioners need to know about, maybe we should go to something like that and look at it through a time period. But I don't see any problems out there. I think we're doing a great job. I think our department is doing just fine, and I'm perfectly happy with the way it is. If they want to send us a report on something that's confidential just to the commissioners, that's fine too, I guess. But otherwise, I just soon stay out of the way of our fire department and our police department when they're on the scene, because we're just going to be getting in the way, personally. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the fire department, the last thing they want is a retired police officer showing up and telling them how to handle a fire. That's not a good thing. So now if Ken showed up, that'd be something different. So, you know, Ken, we'll let you get your final comments in and finish off and let us know where you want us to go with this.
Okay. Well, the points made are well taken. You know, I've in my own experience, I would periodically respond to a medical call and encounter a doctor or an RN on scene, and everybody's eyes would begin to roll. I said, "Okay, here we go," you know. And we would always appreciate the advice of the higher level of care if we had a medical emergency or something like that. But if they were to transition into issuing orders, then there would be a sort of, okay, well, wait a minute, we have to let you know about what's going on. So And then we'd have to lay
Ken's
down.
beautiful, Ken. Leave her there.
Yeah, it's a he.
Leave her there.
He's the senior guy here. And he's got 18 years of experience of response to kitty litter and kibble and whatever else we have in this house, or anything that's a fish. But anyway, the concerns are well taken. You don't want anybody going into a crime scene, contaminating a crime scene. We used to use the nomenclature in hazmat of the hot, warm, and cold zone, and nobody at a hazmat call would be permitted to go anywhere beyond the cold zone. That's where you stay. And the incident commander understands the nomenclature. They understand the legal ramifications of letting people into the warm and successively the hot zone. So no way would you be allowed in those areas. And I'm sure the analogy to the crime scene would be the same thing. Nobody responding would cross that tape at all. Because there's legal ramifications, there's safety ramifications, and of course you have to. You're worried about they're worried about our safety too. And that detracts them from the mission, which we would not do. And so, I understand where everybody's coming from. And, it goes without saying the job that our chief officers, both in fire and police, have done a wonderful job. And they don't need anybody standing with their hands on their hips, 15 yards away telling them, well, have you thought about this? Do you want to do that? Are you looking at this or anything like that? So the notification would be appreciated. I did not know that in this city there was a modicum for commissioners to be notified through the city manager. I learned something tonight. That's interesting that we have that. And that might be the avenue that we proceed with the notification of significant incidents. But, there are inherent hazards to going out to the scene. And again, the old doctor on scene analogy for us, that kind of, that's definitely what we understand talking about. So I would go ahead and perhaps recommend maybe that a notification be done. But, again, there are legal ramifications to that as well. You can't give an address. You can't give a name. There's HIPAA. There's the law. There's all kinds of things that you can't do. It would have to be a very generic and general description. Police action at Palm and Pearson would maybe be the end of it. You wouldn't have to say anything else besides that. So that's where I stand on it. The feedback was good. I'm glad we had this discussion on this matter. And I'm going to go ahead and support the chiefs in their position and agree with the rest of the commissioners. I think notification is sufficient.
Okay, maybe Gerald, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Gerald, as the city clerk, would you have any recommendations on that for us that you think would be a very generic notification thing? You know what I mean?
I'd probably have to get with the deputy city manager, assistant city manager, to come up with something.
Okay. Why don't go ahead, Chief Shaw.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, on our end, obviously the chief and I, and we can talk with the city manager and deputy city manager about that. So Gerald doesn't have to, but let us take care of that on our end. And there may be something like Chief Beverly was talking about on the fire side that we can just incorporate into that. So
I know Ken brought up some really great points with HIPAA and compromising criminal investigation. We don't want to go there. We don't even want to go there. But I think Donna brings up a good point too, where people do call her, and it'd be nice to say, the police have got that handled. Don't worry about it. It's a barricaded hostage thing or barricaded suspect, and stay the hell away from there, right?
Yeah. So I'm comfortable though bringing forward that conversation with them and let us kind of look at that and see if we can come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Donna, do you want to add something?
I was just going to say that the city manager and the deputy assistant manager know how to say these things and would present it to us in a not giving out much information except, yes, this is happening right now, blah, 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 and being very, I don't know what the word is, but very right about how to say it. That would be the notifications.
All right. Yeah, that was a good conversation, Ken. Thank you. And thank you, Chief Shaw, for stepping up and doing that for us. So,
Thank you, Chief.
Anything else before we close that item out? We're good? All right, cool. All right.
Should we make a motion to hear about it? What's going to happen or what?
No, I don't think we need a motion. City staff they're gonna check into seeing if that's something that can happen. And I don't want to make a motion and find city staff to do something that can't be done. And Chief Shaw may come back and go, the city manager says no, not just no, but hell no, with
right,
like double hell no. So, and that's okay. That's okay. So, and we'll hear what Chief Shaw has to say maybe in a month or two and see what comes from that. Gerald, if you're there, would you like to lead us through this next section with the review and selection of a new chair or vice chair?
Sure. So any commissioner can come forward and make a motion to nominate someone for the position of chair and vice chair.
And this is a practice that we do yearly, so it's that time of the year. If we had elected new city council members in the last election, obviously they would maybe have had new choices for the commission, and then we would go through this process. So do we have any, let's do the chair first, and that way then we can do vice chair. So is there any motions to appoint someone or have someone assume the position of the chair?
I'd like to make a motion that Walt Meyer continue his excellent job as chair.
I second that.
I third it.
I'd like to second it also. I like to say that would be a very good selection. And I think Walt has done a wonderful job. And I think the way things have been going the last couple of years, that we shouldn't change a lot of things. Right now, we're moving good. And I want to see a lot of changes being done right now. And I think Walt would be a very good chairman for us right now. And whoever seconded it was fine, but I just had to get that in there.
We love you, Walt.
Yeah, Donna, I could use a little more money on my check, though. Okay, so
Well, let's make a motion on that.
no, let's not make a motion.
Motion to Gerald.
Okay, let's. So we have a motion for myself as chair with a second. Gerald, you want to handle the vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Eastman,
Yes.
Commissioner Lozano,
Yes.
Commissioner Muse,
Yes.
Vice Chair Mitchell,
A very emphatic yes.
Chairman Meyer.
All right. Yeah, I'll go ahead and vote yes. So, all right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Donna, you've done this job kind of, so you know that you're not really congratulating me. You're congratulating
Notice
yourself.
how you say kind of.
Well, that brings us.
It.
There you go. That brings us to the second one, and that's a selection of a vice chair. So, do we have any motions for vice chair?
I'd like to make a motion that we nominate Mr. Muse. Yes.
Okay. We have a
He's
nomination.
a new kid on the block.
Yeah, they gave me the new kid treatment, so let's give it to him.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ken for Brian. We have is that a second, Donna?
Yep.
Okay, we have a second from Donna. So can we go ahead and get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Eastman,
Lee, that's for you.
Aye.
Commissioner Lozano,
Yes.
Commissioner Muse,
Yes, I agree for myself.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
and Chairman Meyer.
And I vote yes because I think Brian will do a great job, but I'm definitely going to miss Ken as the vice chair. Ken stepped in as the brand new guy, literally, and we did kind of give him the new guy treatment. And Ken, you have done an outstanding job this last year, working with Donna, working with Chief Everland, and getting that fire project done. Thank you. That is something I don't think many of us could have gotten done. You and Donna did a great job, and without your fire expertise, we may still be talking about this. So thank you so much for what you did this last year.
That's amazing.
Sure.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve you guys, and it's kind of missing you guys sitting here in front of a computer screen instead of being together. But I'm looking forward to the upcoming year, and I think we still have a very good team assembled, and we're going to tackle and we're going to
We do.
accomplish some things.
Of course, I'm feeling left out because I got the reviews of a kind of fault.
What was that, Don? I didn't catch it all.
I said I'm feeling left out because everyone did a fantastic job and I got a kind of.
No, I said you did an awesome job. You and Ken knocked it out of the park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it without you, Donna.
Yeah.
You kept me in line.
No, Donna, you were awesome this year, and here's the deal. Now that we've kind of made, we've chosen who the chair and vice chair are going to be. I know last year it was very important to me to get the fire project done. So maybe for the next meeting, you can all think about it, and we can come up with a new project that's going to be our project for this next coming year. Lee, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I just want to thank Commissioner Mitchell for the fine job that he did, along with the chair. And I thought you did a great job, Kenneth. And fire, especially fire stuff, you had it all down pat. And I also want to congratulate Brian and have fun, because when I first came, they stuck me with it too. So good luck.
Thanks, Lee. Well, that's what happened. I'm telling you, that's what happened with the Citizens on Patrol, Lee. Thanks, Lee.
That's okay.
Still president.
Like I said, I had my 2 cents this year, and my 2 cents was the fire project, and you guys did a great job with that. We kind of need a new mission, a new goal. So if you guys can think about that and maybe come back to the next meeting with one that you want to suggest, I think that would be great. But thank you for help. That was my thing for this commission this year, and I think we're there. I think the chief's going to do great in front of city council, and it sounds like city council and city staff are already on board. That's an important thing there. So, all right, now we've handled that. Let's go ahead and get into the reports, and we'll start with animal control, please, Paul.
Good evening. So for December, we had, hopefully everybody can hear me.
You're good.
We had 218 calls for service, resulting in 56 citations issued and 5 bite reports generated. We issued 31 licenses. We had 56 animals come into the shelter. 1 owner surrender. 5 went out to foster. 12 to rescue. We had 37 return to owner. 23 animals went to the vet. We had 1 animal went to county, and that was as a result of a bite report where he had to be quarantined, and there was no owner. 1 animal was euthanized. It was a cat that was attacked by a raccoon. We had 12 DOAs, 3 vouchers issued for spay and neuters. And we also had the Animal Action League in our parking lot on 15 December, resulted in 13 customers from DHS that were getting vaccines. We had 11 customers from outside of our area that participated in the vaccine clinic. We also had a total of 28 folks, getting spayed or neuters. 15 of those were from Desert Hot Springs and 13 from outside of our area. So, then that concludes my report. Any questions on those? Or
Any questions for Paul?
Well, I have a question I don't think you can help with, but the last several days, there's 2 cats that have been caught on my cameras outside, and I don't know how you get rid of them. I mean, I don't know even what they're here for. What do you?
Well, there is a trap and release program that's sponsored through the Palm Springs Animal Shelter. They cover the whole Coachella Valley. It's a complete volunteer staff. They can come out and set traps and try and catch them. There's a lot of feral cats in Desert Hot Springs, partly because there's a lot of people who are feeding them. They propagate, and as a result, we have more and more and more. So the trap and release program, basically, they'll take them in, they'll make sure that they're healthy, they'll spay or neuter them, and then they release them back out. But if you wanted to call me, I can get you the number. Put your address, in the pipeline, because they are very busy covering the entire Coachella Valley.
But is that a mean thing to do? I mean, I don't know what they're doing. They're walking up my sidewalk and then they're going in front of my bushes and then I can't see them any longer, you know. So I don't know.
Well,
I don't want to hurt them. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. It's
well,
during
we're
the
not hurting them. I mean, it's essentially, it's hard to make the distinction between a cat and a wild animal, but feral cats
Right.
are essentially wild animals.
Okay. All right. Well, if you can get me the number, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly.
Okay.
Thank you. That's it.
Anybody else for Paul? No? I do have one question, Paul. For people who are getting their dogs or cats license, how long does that city license, how long is it good for?
Well, it depends on how long their vaccination is current for. It mirrors the rabies vaccination. So if they've got a 3-year rabies vaccine, they can get a 3-year license. If they've got a 1-year vaccine, they get a 1-year license.
And then do you guys send out a reminder to come in and get that updated? Or?
Unfortunately, we're really not set up to do that right now. You know, not only lack of personnel, but the system in order to generate that type of a report to them. So it's kind of incumbent on the person to keep tabs on that. It'd be ideal. It'd be ideal if we could do that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool because I was looking at my 2 girls and I'm like, are they up or due or so?
Yeah,
but
most people forget.
Yeah, the other question is are you still taking donations of like bedding and toys and stuff
If they're
like
in
that?
good shape, yeah. Toys we can always use because the dogs tear up the toys pretty fast. We've got quite a few, towels and bedding and stuff like that, but we'll always take it. If we've got room for it, we'll store it away.
Okay, cool deal. All right, anybody else got anything for Paul? No? Okay. Brian's over there like, can we just please get to the hockey game, right? So okay. Next one, city staff report for code compliance, please. Christina.
Good evening. In the month of December, we had a total of 43 service requests, 270 inspections, resulting in 65 courtesy notice of violations, and 20 citations, with the total citation amount being $12,300. In the month of December, obviously it was a short month. The city had a break. We really focused on a lot of the illegal street vendors that we're seeing, so we're doing sweeps of those. Believe it or not, the majority of them do have, they have business licenses and they have street vendor certifications. We are seeing some problematic ones in the county areas, and a few locals that don't have certificates or business licenses, but we're working really hard to get them in compliance. And then the other thing that we're very focused on, and you'll see this in the month of January as well, is shopping center maintenance. So a lot of beautification efforts, making sure that the shopping centers along Palm and Pearson are in compliance with landscape standards, parking lot striping, asphalt, things that make a really big impact on the community. That's all I have.
Okay, wow. You got quite a bit done during the holidays. That's pretty impressive. Anyone got any questions for Christina? Brian?
$12,000 is a lot of money for citations. Yes? No?
It's about average. It was a shorter month, but we probably do anywhere from about 9,000 to about 15,000 a month.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Doing a great job.
Go ahead, Brian.
Hi, Christine. Good evening, Christine. Hey, on a different note, I just wanted to know, does Airbnbs fall under code jurisdiction? Because I know reading some stuff of homeowners as a local realtor came to me and asked, besides just, hey, I want to go there. I know there's a set of rules on the books I haven't read that I think would fall under code compliance. Like, do we have anybody following up stuff like that? Like signs posted, like if this is an Airbnb, how do I know to call? Because now I got to call the cops because they're got 10 cars. And I mean, does that fall under code compliance? Or do you know if anything's in the works with that? Because I've had a few people bring some stuff up because we are getting inundated with Airbnb, and a lot of homeowners are not happy. I mean, I don't know what to say. I say, well, if they're breaking city rules, and I imagine, I haven't read everything, but I know the city, when you go for a business license, there's a set of rules, and I don't know if you guys are handling that part, because I know Palm Springs is strict. You have people that just in code compliances that drive around and say, oh, well, you're only supposed to have 4 cars here, but I've got 15 cars in a big party, which is causing more work for the police. But people are asking. So I don't know. I told them, well, I'd get back. But is that something code compliance would be following up when I don't know.
So we do directly respond to complaints regarding short-term rentals. There is a platform on the city's website to directly report, either by just a simple form, or we have a 24-hour hotline that is dedicated to complaints. After hours, typically, if requested, that goes over to non-emergency dispatch, and the police department will have a patrol unit respond. If it's something related to like landscape, trash, noise complaints, things outside of an immediate emergency purview, then it'll come to us directly. So I have a platform that directly sends me all of the hotline submissions. So we're constantly checking that. We can also hear the audio of the recording, so I can go back and play it and have that on my record. We do have regulations outlined in Title V of the Municipal Code for short-term rentals. I would say that they're obviously not as stringent as Palm Springs or Cathedral City, because we simply have not had as many short-term rentals in the past. We are actually currently looking into doing some amendments related to the short-term rentals so that we can have a little bit more stringent, at least citations and violations. I would say that we don't have as many complaints as people think we do. And I don't know if that's respective to the fact that people don't know where to complain, or if we truly don't have that many complaints. I will give you an example. In the last probably 6 months, I've probably only had maybe 6 complaints come in. All of those are typically usually noise complaints. I really don't get too much by way of trash or landscape maintenance or too many vehicles parked. We do not have a regulation that stipulates that they need to have a sign kind of, publicizing that they are a vacation rental. We don't have that.
So your recommendation would be, if somebody's out at a party, it's obviously, because our officers are busy, it's 4:15, noise, and obviously they're going to see it. Or would you direct them, say, well, you need to get a hold of code compliance and leave a note and say, hey, this is ongoing every weekend. More licenses are coming. As a realtor, I am getting a lot of people interested in Airbnb. And I said, well, you just got to go with whatever the city guidelines are at this time.
So for properties that are habitual offenders, it's imperative that we establish that history of violation. And so for that reason, I would encourage you to use the hotline that's on the website. And I can send you that information via email, because what that does is it actually documents the history of the calls. So let's say there's something more pertinent going on with the PD and they can't respond directly to the noise complaint. I can then follow up, let's say the following day or that evening, code enforcement can follow up, and we can still use that as a violation. So any short-term rental that has, I believe it's 4 or more violations in a 12-month period, they are subject to the revocation of their certificate. And so when we talk about habitual offenders, that part is really imperative that we document those violations.
Okay, so what I'm saying, so their license could be pulled if it's just fenders and fenders. Absolutely. Any license that we provide can be revoked, and it would be essentially revoked for the life of that term. And one last thing, sorry. So is there an 800 number on the city website for people who are watching, doing tonight, that they can go right to and go? There is. I'm going to see if I can find it here for you.
So if you go to the city's website and you just use the search bar at the top and simply write in vacation rental, what will populate is what we call the Good Neighbor brochure for vacation rentals. It tells you all about some of the regulations we just went over, and it also provides you with the phone number for the hotline. And I can email this to you all as well. So that phone number is 760-273-3111.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Okay. Any other questions for Christina? No?
No.
Okay. Donna, do you have something?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys working on the street vendors, Christina. I see them all the time and I wonder, but from your answer, I now know that you guys are on top of it. So if they are out there doing stuff, that's because it's okay for them to do it. So, but yeah, thank you for covering that. I appreciate that. All right. Nothing else for Christina? No? Okay, cool. All right. Let's move on to the police department report with Chief Shaw, please.
And thank you. So first, just going over the crime stats for you for December. We unfortunately had 2 homicides in December, so it gave us a total of 6 homicides for the year. Some of the other significant crime stats, robberies, we didn't have any in December, which was a good thing. Motor vehicle theft, we had 15, which brought us down from the last month of 22. And as we look at these numbers, I'm currently working on an analysis of the entire year, and I hope to have that for you at the next meeting, but a quick glance at it. For instance, homicides, we ended up last year with 6. In 2020, we also had 6. But rape cases, we ended up with a total of 8 for the year, and in 2020, we had 14, so we had a decrease in those. Robberies, we ended up with a total of 26 for the year. In 2020, there were 39. Burglaries, we had 147 for the year, which is a little bit higher than we did. In 2020, we had 132. And something we've been talking about a lot is the motor vehicle thefts. We ended up with 201 motor vehicle thefts for the year, slightly down from 2020, which was at 203. So as I look at the entire year, it's a little bit tougher for this last year. We've talked about, as you know, we went from the UCR reporting to the NIBRS reporting. So it's a little bit tougher to do an apples to apples comparison, but we're breaking those down. We're looking at those numbers, and I'm hoping by the next meeting, part of my presentation to you will be looking at a comparison for the entire year where we're at. But the initial look and looking at the numbers is I see us with a continued decline in crime that we've seen the last several years. And again, I'll bring more information to you on that at the next meeting. Budget-wise, we're about 50% of the way through as we wrapped up December. For the police department, we finished up that 50% mark at 48%, so we're right in line where we should be. Code compliance is right there also at 45% of the budget, and animal control is also at 45%. So we're finding ourselves right where we want to be at that halfway mark in terms of the budget. A couple of things going on with the police department. I want to talk about the COVID. Obviously, that's been going up. That's been ramping up. The new variant, a lot more positive cases. Obviously, the good part of that is that folks are recovering quicker and not as severe. No different here at the police department. We've had several people out that have been sick. Some of it's just a normal flu and cold that's going around this time of year. Some of it's been COVID-related stuff. But nothing has changed as far as our level of service. We're still operating at full service. The doors are open. We're staffing all of our patrol shifts. So I want you to know and the public to know that we're not being affected by that in terms of losing any staffing or patrol shifts or anything like that. The officers and detectives and the professional staff have been working extra hours and stuff to make sure that we don't have to shut down any of our services, and we have not, so that's a good thing. The other thing that's exciting is the last couple of weeks have been real busy around here. If you've been by the police department on the west side of the department, where the empty lot is, where code compliance building is, and the old trailers that used to be there that are out. You'll see a new trailer over there. It's a temporary one. It's a construction trailer that's being utilized by the project manager and the contractors that will be doing the dispatch and the tenant improvements in the annex building here at the police department. On Monday, the first hammer will be hit against the wall, and the dispatch center will be, the remodel will be starting on the build of the dispatch center. So
All right.
the timeline that we've been talking about the past several months is right on time, and we're excited to see that kicking off on Monday with the construction starting in that. So it'll be busy around here and noisy around here, especially inside the building for a little while. It's about a 135-day build for the dispatch center is what they anticipate. We're still working on some things in terms of with state and equipment and stuff like that, and we're just trying to get all that put together so everything kind of comes together at the same time. We're moving forward with our hiring of dispatchers. So now at this point, it's just a matter of getting all those pieces kind of to go to the puzzle at the same time. Again, our goal is May. September 1st is an absolute. That's when our contract ends with Cathedral City. So we've got that window between May and September. We're hopefully, we're done with construction. We've got our dispatchers hired and trained and ready to go, and we'll be operational. So I'll keep you posted on as that goes, but that's an exciting thing that's going on here at the department. And then beyond that, I'm open up for any questions that you may have of me.
Okay. Any questions for Chief Shaw?
I have one.
Yeah, go ahead, Donna.
Hi, you're doing a great job. I love the police department. I haven't seen any cops on patrol walking or the motorcycle cops during the day. I mean, you're doing a great job. I don't see anything happening there. Do we have?
Yeah, they are. So motor wise, it is 2 motors. We are down. 1 motor is still out on injury. And then our other motor sergeant, he's working, but he does have an injury that's preventing him from actually being able to work in the field at this point. He's able to work some assignments, but just not in the field. I think I've mentioned it before. You guys know my passion with the motors and my background on the motor. I've been able to get on the motor a few times and get out there and do some enforcement and some education on the streets. But they are there, Commissioner Lozano, and hopefully the ones that are injured, they're mending and they'll be back there full time here hopefully shortly.
Okay. And I would like to have in maybe a month or so a gang update again. Time for a gang update.
Very well. I will get that information for you.
Thank you. I think that's it. I don't know if you have anything to do with the lights on the street. No?
Are you talking signal lights?
No. Lights on the road on the
light. We don't. But if we see any that are out, then we contact Public Works and let them know. And if you have anything right now, you can certainly pass it on to me, and I'll make sure Public Works gets it.
Well, on my way to City Hall tonight, which is closed, there were no lights on. I mean, it was completely dark coming down from Mission Lakes Boulevard to, City Hall. And then when I realized I didn't get the emails from Gerald, and it's not Gerald's fault. I have a brand new $1,000 phone that I'm not getting emails, and I get cut off on the phone as well. Aside from that, when I turned around to come back home, all the lights were on. So my question is, who do you talk to get those lights to come on sooner, because it gets darker earlier? And I mean, that's important. I mean, it was pitch black.
Yeah, that's going to be Public Works, Donna. You just have to drop a line or drop a phone call into Public Works. So.
All of that is for naught.
Oh, you've tried reaching them?
No, that's what I'll do.
Well, yeah, give them a call. I do see them out when I'm going to work at like sometimes 5:30, 6:30 in the morning. I'll see the Public Works guys are already out there doing stuff. So I guarantee you they're out and about doing stuff. So I'd give them a call. They're the ones who handle all the street lights.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Thank you, Chief Shaw.
Thank you.
okay. Hey, Brian, you're next.
Hey, Deputy Chief, three questions. Just real quick, since I was listening to Donna, just responding. How many full-time sworn positions or because you were talking about budget, are we really budgeted for? I mean, are we done hiring? Are we still hiring? And then the second one, how many of those are actually full-time employees? And then the third thing would be pretty much what would be the ideal? I'd like to have 100 police officers, but you know, I'm again just trying to get caught up on those. So those are just my questions. So,
Yeah, so we are still hiring. We are actively hiring both officers and dispatchers. We're budgeted for 34 full-time police officers. One of those budgeted positions was set aside for 3 CSO positions, community service officer positions. All 3 of those positions are currently filled. We have 3 CSOs. We are 6 short of full staffing that we are trying to fill. And we've talked about it before. It's been a challenge, especially the last several months of last year, and especially during COVID. I think folks kind of shut down as we enter the holidays, and they start shutting down, looking for work, and we're hoping that with the new year, folks will start looking again and being active and finding jobs. But we do have several that are going through the process right now, but it's been a continual hiring process really for the last several years. So we are continuing. If anybody knows anybody, please send them our way. We are looking at, there's an academy in March. One of our CSOs is going to be going to the full-time police academy in March. He's done a phenomenal job as a CSO. So very shortly here, we're going to start looking at backfilling that position. So we maintain that 3 CSO position. Because one thing that we do have on order, we ordered it several months ago, but like all things with vehicles, but we do have a prisoner van that we've ordered. And hopefully by mid-year, we'll have that delivered here. But our CSOs are being trained to do our prisoner transports. So that frees up our officers. They're doing it right now, but once we get that prisoner van, it'll cut down on how many times we have to drive and drop them off. So that's going to be a nice addition. So we're still moving forward with them, but we do have several open positions that we are trying to fill.
also, with that in mind, is because again, when you take an officer now, you got the CSOs. It usually takes an hour or two. We lose an officer to go transport usually, or
Yeah, you can usually count on at least a couple hours. An hour.
Oh, wow.
There, taking care of the paperwork and processing on scene and getting back. So it is very time consuming and takes an officer out of the city, especially when during the when you're running just a few officers, and if we have to have one go out of the city, then it takes that away. So they've been a great help. Like I said, they do it right now, but they do it in one of the vehicles, so they can only take usually one at a time. But they're doing it right now. So once we get that prisoner van, it's just going to be a force multiplier and really help us be more efficient in that respect.
just one more other question is that's on my mind. So 34 sworn positions. I mean, is that something the city could say? Well, why is 34? Why can't we have 64? I mean,
Yeah.
The more the merrier. I mean,
Yeah, and that's been a number. I
So-
don't remember the last time they did an actual assessment, personnel assessment, and it is something as we've seen the city continue to grow. That
Yeah.
within the next 2-3 years, something like that is going to have to be done as the city continues to grow, services continue to expand, housing continue to expand. It's only natural that all public services, expand also. So it is something like you. Yeah, I would love to have 100 officers.
Yeah.
Our officers work extremely hard.
They do. They're awesome. They're amazing.
And they're fantastic. But that is something in the future that we will have to look at and do an actual study, a personnel study on where we're at, where we look at the calls for service and the volume and what, they used to use how many per thousand is what used to be the formula, but I think that's kind of antiquated and they really don't use that anymore. So that is something for us to look at.
Yes, I agree. That's something commission looked at with the city because I mean, our city is growing. I mean, new houses are building all over the place. people are coming to the city, and you just look at Palm Drive. I just think that's something that needs to be addressed. I mean, just for the safety. I mean, I know most of the guys, and we got some of the most amazing officers there, including our chiefs, and you guys can't work 120 hours a week. So thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Okay, Lee.
Quick question, Chief. How many officers do we have on training right now?
We have, let's see, we have one CSO that is finishing up his training, and no officers. All the officers, we just had our last one finish up recently. So all of our officers are currently out of training.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
That's
Ken?
it.
Thank you, Lee. Ken?
Janet,
Oh, there I am.
There he is.
Yeah, I actually disappeared for a short while. I had to get out and log back in, so I missed a portion of the meeting, and I apologize for that. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But to answer your question, no, I'm satisfied with the chief's report. Continue to do what you're doing, and as Commissioner Vice Chair Muse mentioned, that we should be soon taking into account an analysis. Perhaps I know we hired a crime analyst not too long ago, and that we could take a look at officer staffing and if it's commensurate with the direction the city is going, not just with the resident population. But I know that there's some. I know anecdotally and for a fact that there's some businesses that are beginning to pick up to locate into Desert Hot Springs, and definitely that's a public safety concern that they're going to. The safer a community is, the more it entices business to relocate here. And I don't think anyone on this panel would be opposed to that. So having said that, thank you, Chief, for your work, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Well, I just got one question, Chief. You guys served a search warrant over on Julian a week or two ago. Can you tell us what that was about? I'm being nosy because friends of ours live in the neighborhood, but they just sold their house. But I'm wondering because they called me in the middle of the day to find out what was going on. I'm like, I don't know. So
see what I mean?
That one was, we teamed up. It was basically a child pornography case.
okay.
So we teamed up with the Riverside ICAC and the San Diego ICAC team and served a couple search warrants, and that was at one of the locations.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that explanation. And other than that, I really like what Brian mentioned there. That may be something that we make as a goal this year. So think about that over the next month. If that's something you guys would be interested in, is looking at staff. We've obviously dealt with the fire department staffing level, and I think we're on the right track there. So maybe we look at the police. Paul, did you have something for us? You had your hand raised up there on the thing. Okay, I just saw it on the one thing down there. All right, nothing else for the chief? No? Okay, let's move on to the fire report, please.
Thank you. Well, before we get into the statistical review of the month of December, I just wanted to alert the commission to something that's going on regionally in the county, and that is an increase in what is known as APOD time. And APOD time is ambulance patient offload delay at the hospitals. And basically what has transpired over the last month or so is that those APOD times are getting longer and longer and longer. And what that means is that an ambulance transports a patient to the hospital, they unload the gurney, they roll them into the hospital, and there's a line out the door of patients waiting for rooms or beds or to be evaluated. And what's happening is not only are those ambulances having to stay there waiting to turn patient care over, but it's also causing us a problem where ambulances are delayed getting back out into the field. So there's been a couple of times in December where we had multiple incidents throughout the county being assigned to fire engines going to emergency medical aids with no ambulance available. A lot of this is transpiring on the west end of the county. However, it's affecting Desert Hot Springs because it's busy in Desert Hot Springs. So whenever there's a concurrent call or a need for a second or a third ambulance sometimes those ambulances are coming from the Beaumont Banning area, and they're getting delayed at the hospital. I think at one point during December there were 30 ambulances at hospitals waiting to offload their patients. So I wanted to make the commission aware of that situation. The county fire chiefs met at the Board of Supervisors meeting on, I believe it was on Wednesday, or it was Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, and brought this issue to the Board of Supervisors to see if there's anything we can do. You know, a lot of the issues surround COVID. However, we have seen a long trend beginning to develop, and we want to have real solutions to fix these problems. So just wanted to make you all alert of that. And as the situation becomes different or there's a change, I'll keep you advised. Okay, so as far as statistics go, Riverside County Fire Department in general in 2021 responded to 183,482 calls in the year, and that's about a 9.33% increase from 2020. I much like Chief Shaw will have an end of the year report for you at the next meetings with some detailed statistical analysis that I'm working on. I just want to make sure that I've confirmed some stats that haven't been 100% closed out from our CAD yet. For the month of December, we ran in Desert Hot Springs, we ran 424 emergencies. Our average response time was 4 minutes and 68 seconds, and calls under 5 minutes were about 69%. As you recall, we're shooting for meeting 90%, or meeting 4 minutes or less 90% of the time. So we got some work to do. We had a lot of mutual aid into the city as the trends have continued. And we had some significant incident reports. In the interest of time, I'll just keep my report brief and answer any questions that you might have. And I'll have a pretty significant end of the year 2020 report for you next meeting.
Okay. Questions for the fire for Chief Beverly?
I do.
Go ahead, Brian.
Real quick, so APOD chief, well, the response time, I'm just going back in my head. 4 minutes under 5 is fantastic, even in this city. Just the way the streets are put out, you guys are doing an amazing job. I've seen you guys out there. You're busy. I haven't seen any fire department more busier than you guys. But that is your serving, and I'm glad you brought up the APOD commission for the commissioners, because trauma victim. Are they? I guess when you bring somebody to the ER, they're pick a number. Even if you got there 3 seconds, you still got to get them to the hospital. If they're going to be sitting there, what's the point?
Well, and the county has recognized during these real difficult times and heavy usage of emergency services, including the hospitals, that the services do get used in a fashion that sometimes isn't conducive to prioritizing calls. And what I mean by that is that you take yourself to the urgent care, and the urgent care has a 4-hour wait, and you're uncomfortable because you have an ear infection. So you call 911 because you think that, an ambulance is going to show up and take you, and you're going to get immediately taken to the emergency room and go to a doctor. And in this case, they're dropping you right off into the waiting room of the emergency room, and now you have a 7-hour wait. So, we have a long ways to go to managing this problem. The county emergency medical services with the county has developed some policy changes, and what we're doing now is our paramedics, when they go out to these less critical calls, they're evaluating these folks and telling them, hey, listen, We understand that you do have a medical problem. However, it's not an emergent problem. And we have some recommendations for you on how to best take care of yourself. And it doesn't involve being transported in an ambulance to the emergency room right now. Can we interest you in getting you set up for an appointment at an urgent care tomorrow or something to that effect? And ultimately, if they say they want to go to the hospital, we have to take them to the hospital. But we're trying to be a little bit more proactive and seeing if we can just let these folks know that, hey, you got a cold, you probably don't need to go to the hospital right now.
That's
So
fantastic. Thank you.
we're
Thank you so
attacking it
much.
on multiple levels, but it is what it is right now, if that makes sense.
Thank you. I am.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just to echo a little bit what was said in the previous comment, the concern about the the ambulance drop-off time. I understand that understand how ambulance systems work, and sometimes you get a medical call and you'll wind up with a basic life support ambulance on scene, and then here comes the fire unit with a paramedic on board, and then the patient is evaluated, and what occasionally happens is that the paramedic winds up riding in with the basic life support ambulance, and when that happens, now your engine is taken out of service until that paramedic is released from patient care. And I was curious as to whether or not this current dilemma that you mentioned affects engines going out of service until paramedics are released and the transfer of care happens at the hospital, such that the paramedic can go back in service and concomitantly the engine can go back into service as well.
Yeah, in Riverside County, in the month of December, we've done more engine follow-up transports with the private ambulance companies than any time in our history.
Mm-hmm.
However, for whatever reason, that has not occurred in Desert Hot Springs in December. I don't know why, but mostly on the west end of the county.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, as long as as long as we can get those, we got to get those engines back in service, because in my own experience, we would have an advanced life support call, and the fire unit would have to travel 19 miles to get to the closest hospital that provided the specialty care that patient needed. And as soon as the sooner the transfer of care happens, the sooner it was able for us to get back in service and get back to our district. So as long as it sounds like you're on top of it, you understand what the ramifications are, and I wish you the best and hope it works out in your favor and in our favor. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Donna, do you have anything for the chief?
No, I just always thank them for being there when I had my heart attack or whatever it was that prompted a 5 bypass. But they were there in minutes, and he said, and just happened at COVID time, and he wouldn't even come in, the ambulance, and he just looked at me and took those little vitals and said, "You're going to the hospital." And there was an ambulance that just came right there. So, I mean, I was taken care of immediately, and unknowingly all this was going on inside me. So, and here I am today. Yay. Thank you, fire department.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's the best story. Hey,
Yeah.
Lee, anything for the chief?
No, not at all.
Good life and being a good person. The former district attorney, Rod Pacheco, was inspired to do the first crime sweep in Riverside, in Desert Hot Springs. And that apparently saved us. I mean, really did a lot for crime. But on the and because of that and other things, I guess, Desert Hot Springs has chosen me to be the senior inspiration or person, whatever you call it, for the year. And it's a big deal award. And I just want to say I'm pretty proud of that. And I don't know all that I've done, but I am very proud and excited and happy to be, public safety commissioner. And also, the other second thing was, I was chairman for a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall? See?
Yes, I do. And you
no
did a good
rave
job.
reviews. Yeah, right. I just wanted to mention that, but I just wanted to say I'm proud of the honor that they're going to bestow on me on March 31st, and it's one chosen person from each city in the Coachella Valley, and I'm proud to be it.
Well deserved, Donna. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
I can't think of a
Donna.
better
Very
person.
good.
So,
Congratulations, Don.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
all right, cool. That's awesome. See, good people. Lee, you got anything?
Yeah, congratulations, Don, on your
Thank
award
you.
there. And I also want to thank Walt for taking the job again as commissioner chairman. You've done a great job, and I think that's why we nominated you and voted for you. So hang in there and do a good job. And I want to congratulate our new commissioner, and I'm sure he'll do a great job too. And he's off to a good start. So let's have a good year, guys, and we'll give it hell, okay? That's all I got to say. I can't talk much more.
Well, thank you, Lee. I just think the main reason you guys all nominated is because you're smarter than I am. So
Yes.
yeah, see, Donna admits it. Good.
Right.
See, so, all right, I got nothing else other than, like I said, if we can kind of come up with some ideas of something we really want to tackle next year. We've done really good over the last 6 years, and we've really done some great things. It's awesome to see that when Chief Shaw comes in, he reports that the police department, animal control, and code enforcement are all totally within budget. If we remember in 2012 when we had that major budget crisis, the biggest problem was the police department's budget was out of control and nobody was paying attention to code or animal control. In fact, they weren't getting any love at all. They were kind of like the stepchild who didn't get any attention and didn't get any money because everything was going into the police department. And to see all three of those departments thriving, doing a great job, and being on budget is one of the main reasons we exist. So even though we try to help with that, it's the people in those departments who are doing the awesome work, and we thank you for that. Because if you didn't, then it would make our job as commissioners harder because we'd actually have to ask questions and figure out what the hell is going on. But so thank you guys for staying on budget. We really do appreciate that, and the city is doing great because you're on budget. So other than that, I've got nothing else. Anybody got anything else for the good of the order? Brian?
Last thing, well, thank you guys for nominating me, the new guy. I look forward to working with each one of you guys, and really as a safety commissioner, trying to help Desert Hot Springs be a safer place, all aspects from there. And definitely, I'll say it now, I really want to really focus this year. I want to get deputy chiefs some more officers. I mean, 34 just doesn't seem enough. Just seeing the way they work, I don't, that's all I can say.
Okay. All right. Donna, do you have something else?
Yeah, I wanted to say congratulations, Walt, again. And Brian, thank you for accepting your nomination as well. And I'm with you on wanting to get more police on the force. So if I can help you with anything, I'm a good behind the scene person. Because I'm just too cute to, be in the front.
You're not going to get any argument from me there, Donna.
I can vouch for that as well.
So I'm happy.
All right.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and call the meeting at 8:01. Oh, wait, Lee, are you just waving by? Okay. If nothing else, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next month.
Happy New Year.
Next
All right. Good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.